a very healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, but I still love a glass of wine, or 7 sometimes.
Yes.
You know, I'll have nights where I drink more than 1 or 2 and wake up feeling a bit crap. But and chocolate and ice cream. I love a bowl of ice cream.
Yeah,
so
great.
I'm not going to deny myself, because I'm a great believer that you don't know whether this is your last day on earth.
You very much live in the now. I've noticed that about you, which is a really, you know, it's one thing to say it, but another thing to actually...
Well, that's all we have. We don't have... If I was sitting here now thinking about what I'm going to have for dinner, I'm not present and I'm not giving you 100% of my divided attention, my attention, or I'm just stressing about... I just don't sweat the small stuff anymore.
How have you done that though? Because I would love to be able to do it all the time. So you do credit it all to...
And mindfulness, and as long as you really... It's about being in your body. It's about making sure that your senses, you just bring yourself back to the moment what you're smelling, what you're hearing, what you're seeing. It's about constantly reminding yourself that there is just this moment. There is no other moment. This is all we have. They could drop the bomb right now and we could all be obliterated. So if you remind yourself of that at all times, it gives you this kind of inner calmness. And meditation morning and night, because that gets rid of the monkey mind. You kind of just let that go nuts. And it's not about emptying it, because that's the other thing I've learned about meditation, because people say, I can't meditate. And I go, why? And they go, because my mind goes crazy. And you go, yeah, well, that's fine. That's fine. You just let your mind, you just don't pay attention to it. You sit there and breathe and just let your mind go, oh, but you're still breathing. And every so often in that moment, you'll have a moment of complete bliss where you'll think, I'm not thinking anything. And that's fantastic. Yeah. It's really great when you get to that.
Because you can tell you have there's not many people you meet that have this extra energy about them, you know.
Yeah, well, but when I don't do that, I get very scattered if I don't have that kind of...
That's your time for you.
Yeah, and then I always finish it with gratitude. I always go, thank you for this day. Thank you for the health of my son and my husband. And if this is the last day on earth, I hope I live it with love and kindness. And everyone that I meet, I hope I treat them with that, no matter who it is. Because that's the other thing my mum taught me. Just don't ever treat anyone any differently, because we're all the same. We've just got different costumes on. We're the same energy that's running through all of us, and we all come from the same source. And as long as you remember that, then...
because somebody the other day said to me, you can tell what somebody's really like by how they treat waiters.
Yes,
it's true. That's great. If you're on a date and the guy treats the waiter like shit, you know he's not a good person.
Anyone, doesn't matter who it is, whether it's a waiter or the postman or when you're waiting in line to speak to someone or someone that serves you anywhere. I mean, we're all the same. And that's, I guess, my mum taught me that the whole time. She'd give the shirt off her back to anyone. Someone could walk up to this, and she's a 78-year-old woman, and anyone would walk up to her on the street and say, "Can I have that shirt?" And she'd say, "Sure." She'd take it off. And that's, I've always believed that. Same sort of thing.
Do you think that you also meditate and eat healthy? Because you did a little while ago have a nervous breakdown.
Oh, yes. Well, that had nothing to do with that was just my self-loathing. That was getting to... I'd shot 6 telly movies back to back, and I was in virtually everything when I was doing Halifax. My first marriage fell apart, and I was on a plane coming back from the south of France with a producer, and I had this panic attack. And I was getting panic attacks for years, all through my 20s, all through my teens. And I would just deal with, I would kind of like take drugs or whatever. But I never got to the root cause of what the panic attacks were from. And I was on this plane and this panic attack hit and didn't stop. Just kept going. And I kept thinking, it's going to stop soon, it's going to stop soon. And it didn't stop. And I was getting more and more stressed. And I ended up on an oxygen tank. It was horrible. And sobbing and going, oh my God, I'm going mad. And luckily I had this producer friend with me. He got me to London, to Heathrow, to the health section there. They bundled me in and they got a doctor, and took me 5 Valium to get from London back to Australia because I was so stressed. And the producer on the plane gave me the card of this woman and said, you need to go and see this woman. And she was a psychiatrist. And I rang her the next day and said, I'm going mad. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I went to her the next day, and then I saw her twice a week for 6 months, and then every week for another year after that. But for the first 6 weeks, I thought, I'm either going to have to be admitted to a hospital.
Really, it was that?
It was that bad. I couldn't leave the house. I developed agoraphobia. I couldn't go outside without taking Valium. I was a mess.
Did you work at that time, or were you?
I'd finished. I'd just come back from Halifax. I'd finished Halifax. I got on the plane. I'd gone to promote it, and I came back, and I was actually on a break. So when people rang up and said, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm really sick. I'm not."
Yeah.
So I told everyone I had the flu, or I was going away. I just was able to fudge it with everyone because I thought I can't tell anyone.
Yeah.
It's like knowing depression, knowing that people would look at me and go, "Well, what's wrong with you?"
Yeah.
Which made it worse because I can't explain it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say what's wrong with me. I just know I'm in this really black place and I really hate myself and I don't know how to get out.
And so how did you started seeing somebody, and is that what
she reminded me, because that was the other thing. She said, because I was also saying, but I've just spent my life trying to help people and do the right thing.
Yeah.
And she went, so who died and made you God? And I went, what?
Yeah.
I was like, because she took me to task on everything. She didn't just let me get away with it. She said, you've spent your life trying to fix other people's lives. What about your own? You know, you've spent 30, because I was 31, she said, you've spent 31 years getting to this point. It's not going to happen overnight. It's probably going to take you another 31 years to undo the damage that's been done.
Shit.
Yeah, and she said, and it's baby steps.
Yeah.
You know, but I was like going, I don't think I can. I can't get out of this pit. I'm like clawing at this pit and I can't get, it was horrible.
Yeah.
It was a really, really horrible time.
It's scary also when, because I, a while ago, would have panic attacks, and then when I fell pregnant with my son, got really sick, and I slipped into quite a depression, and would have
awful.
to. And it's so, the thing that would make it worse is I'd look around and I go, I'm so lucky. Why am I feeling like this? Why I've got a beautiful partner, a healthy, beautiful family, and my career. I just got my dream job, and I was so miserable.
Yeah, I know.
And I remember laying
and you can't say about it.
It's just, and I feel like going, I wish I had a broken arm, because then I could go, this is what's wrong with me. But it's all up here.
How'd you deal with it then?
I started seeing somebody, which I think...
it's imperative, yeah.
I just think we need to see, you know, just even if everything's okay, just to debrief.
Well, that's what you say, but it's like if you did break an arm, you'd see a doctor to get your arm fixed. Why is it that we don't, when we've got mental issues, we don't?
Yeah.
People carry around so much stress all the time and they don't talk to people.
No,
and it's like,
and you need to. And
it's
also
the most important thing.
Totally. And telling family and friends is so important, you know, because it's, and they know, like straight away they're like, good, you know, like, because...
Yeah, well, see, I couldn't even tell my mum. Mum, even afterwards when it came out, Mum was like, why couldn't you tell me? I said, because I couldn't explain it. I didn't even know myself. I don't know why. You know, it was tied up a lot with my childhood, which after going through, you know, the therapy, it was to do with my grandfather and my dad and, you know, and just letting go of a whole bunch of stuff that we do store as children. You know, you do store away all this stuff and this hurt and anger and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, as an adult, I was going, oh, rubbish, just deal with it. And it's like, actually, I needed to process it. I needed to bring it out and actually get angry and, you know, cry and talk about it and stuff.
Because when things happen when you're a kid, you make that decision, you know, like as a 5-year-old, and then you live out your life as this decision a 5-year-old's made. Yeah. Which there's a lot of undoing there.
Absolutely.
There is.
And that's what she said. You know, you've got 31 years and it'll happen again. She said, something will happen to you. They'll come, she said, you'll feel fine. And then in 10 years' time, something will happen and you'll be transported back to us. And she said, you have to then remember where you are, which is another reason why I take every day.
Live in the now.
Yeah, I live in the now. I don't do the past anymore. I just go, that was yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm not going to carry that into today. There's no point.
Yeah.
Because you can't change it.
No, you can't.
Got to learn from it.